Hey guys, Dev Horn here at WeBuyHouses.com and welcome to Cash Offer Masterclass episode 5. So today we've got an exciting victim up on the chopping block here. It's from Bluebonnet Properties and it's a Dallas property. It's got a pretty lofty ARV compared to the things we've been looking at so far. And so I think we're going to see something interesting with this. And as usual, I haven't looked at the photos. I've done a little bit of pre-work, but not too much. I've set up my spreadsheet. It's ready to go. So remember the factors of computing your cash offer begin with number one, determining what the after repaired value will be. And so in this case, the wholesaler here, Bluebonnet Properties, is telling us ARV 750 plus. And then what we see, a relatively kind of normal DFW home, but it's just, where's my maps? It's in North Dallas and in that area right in there. Lake Highlands, all that stuff, Vickery Meadow. I think this is a pretty nice area, but it's also kind of got some of these older homes. This home was built in 1961. What else are they telling us about this? Roof, not too old. HVAC is old, but it's working. Foundation, got some issues with the foundation. And so if you have any interest, if you're a serious cash buyer, these guys at Bluebonnet Properties, they're a serious wholesaler. They get lots of deals under contract in the North Texas area. Reach out to Taylor at 469-283-6950. Thanks, guys, for being on the chopping block today here on the Cash Offer Masterclass. So let's dive into this. The first thing that I like to do, like I said, to get my spreadsheet going is I put in the address. I put in the square footage. Whoops, clicked on the wrong link. Square footage, they said $14.99. Zillow says $14.99, so 3.2. That's it. Okay, we're all in sync there. Now, as I compute the after repaired value, I look at a few things. I'm averaging what Zillow tells me. I might look at it on Realtor or Redfin or some of the other sites because I'm looking for 2 or 3 numbers to see if they're all about in the same range. I also use a paid service called Property Radar, which I really enjoy. I can't click into that because it shows all the personally identifiable information for the homeowner, and we don't want to show that. But Property Radar is telling me 594, and Zillow's telling me 573. And so it's kind of typical what we see in the wholesalers when they put a deal out. They're going to be very optimistic on the ARV. And so, as we see, sometimes the deal works out regardless of whether they were optimistic or not. But Zillow at 573. What have we said about this estimate? This estimate pretty much is ARV because Zillow doesn't know anything about that house. They just know the area, the square footage, and what the comparable homes have sold for. So, and of course, Zillow has a history, and you see this house used to be at 335 and now it's at 571. So it never was at 750, and I don't think that neighborhood really would support that. So we could dig deeper into that, but let's not do that. Let's stick to the task. We're computing the cash offer. And so I basically put in 395. That gives me a after repaired value of 592, which is a couple of thousand below Property Radar and 20,000 above Zillow. Not anywhere near the 750 though. There's no comp that's going to get us to that 750. And so that's our starting point. ARV 592. That's where we're going to start. Now let's go look at the pictures. I often like to tell you guys, it's easy for me to spend 10 minutes and pick apart the hard work of a wholesaler. These guys got this thing under contract, so maybe they'd pay more than, or maybe I won't pay what they want, but they got this thing under contract. So they're out there getting deals. So as we look in the house, this looks kind of, wait, which way am I leaning? It looks, I think that's just camera, right? But we do like to try to zoom in and see what we can see. I don't know where we came into here on image 1. Again, this is a house built in 1961. Kind of looks like it. You see those cracks along there? Boy, water would just go right down under there. That's got to be redone. Totally redone. At this price point, all that stuff has to go. All that stuff has to go. Looking in here, hey, you know what? I don't think that's popcorn. I think that's a rough texture, but I do think those are paneled walls from 1961. You know, paneling was really popular back in the 60s and 70s. Here in Texas especially. And so a lot of us have since painted that paneling white and put some molding up, you know, kind of get away from that brown paneled look. A couple still sitting there watching TV. I'm not sure who they're watching. All right, let's jump ahead. Here's our front view of the home. 1499 square feet. 322 side garage. That's your 2 of the 322. That's your last 2. And so it looks all right. And as I said, a roof probably doesn't need to be replaced right now. We're jumping in here and seeing, you know, this is full cosmetic. I mean, basically, there would be a lot of times when I would say, maybe you could save some of this, but look at those countertops. If y'all can see that. Can y'all see that, or am I in the way? Look at that countertop. Yikes. Okay, let me put me back where I was. Okay. Let's I'm sitting here looking at a toilet. Sorry. Oh my. We're seeing a couple of things here. Serious degradation along the edge of the roof line, the eaves and soffits, or all those kinds of things. Not looking so hot. And this thing's cracked up like an egg. It looks like somebody dropped it. Wow. This is significant. Now, I do think that's the garage, because remember we saw the front was over there, and then you would come around and go into the garage. It's the garage. It's your garage that's kind of falling off. I don't know if we'll see that in other places, but let's take a look. Obviously, somebody needs to come in here and jack this thing up. This whole corner fell off, and it needs to be pushed back up. It's not a huge deal. We do this all the time in Texas, but then you've got that brick surface that, you know, needs to be repaired. So inside the house, it looks like they put down like some LVP or something for flooring. What is that? Looks like the legs of a upside down robot. I do not know what that is, but they got one. Is that? Do you put your pants over there? I don't know. Y'all, let me know in the comments if you know what that's all about. Bedroom, again, we got some LVP on the floor. You know, it's not like there's holes in the walls, and, you know, it looks like the electricity works. It's relatively clean. It's a relatively clean house. It just, that foundation was seriously jacked up on the garage. But, yeah, look at that. Very 60s. Put these things that I guess would go on your porch or something. We put them inside the house back in the 60s. Ugh. Guys, these countertops with the tiles, I'll tell you right now, the ladies do not like those. They want a regular, like, granite or whatever countertop. There's something that's not that. But that's, again, the 60s. We use that small tile to do everything. You line the whole house with it. That all needs to go. Whole countertop. I'd do that whole thing. All this stuff, there's no value to it. Just get that stuff out of there. Put new stuff in. Not a big deal. And look at those curtains. Look at that crack in the roof ceiling. Yikes. But we expected that. I'm not picking it apart, guys. I'm just kind of trying to figure out what we're seeing here. I see shower curtains in the living room. I think this was designed to make it into 2 rooms. You guys know I love to see this. I love to see the mechanicals. It really helps us. Now, as they said in their email, they said HVC working older unit, and yeah, they're right. That is definitely, it's older, but it looks not that bad. Get your gas line coming in, so you get your gas heat. Water heater looks pretty good. Doesn't have a pan under it, so it doesn't meet code. This house won't pass code. You'll have to pull that water heater and put a pan under there. They do have their blow-off valve drained out, but they have no pan. Water heaters, they rust at the bottom, and then finally one day they just let it go. And if you don't have any way to drain that out, it will fill up your house, or well, a little bit. Okay, looking in here. Again, the main house, the main thing is it's just got a lot of paneling. Still got that couple there. Hey, how y'all doing? And here's an attic access up there. See those holes? This is where your mechanical is, and they were required to have ventilation. And so instead of putting a vent in the door, we have to have our doors vented for our HVAC unit. They just drilled some holes in there. Look at that. They drilled some holes in there. Code, up to code. Awesome. Yeah, honestly, the house is clean. It's very shiny. Very shiny. They use like a gloss paint. Probably not what you want to use. You want to use a satin or flat finish on walls. Satin in the bathroom, flat in the main, stuff like that. The flooring is at a house that with a supposedly 750 ARV. This flooring is all gotta go. Like if you really wanted this to be a $600,000 house, even in Dallas, that is a lot to be. This is a full cosmetic, full floors, full walls. So we know that bathrooms we know have vinyl flooring and tiled countertops, and what else can we see? Bad light fixtures from 1961. It's an old house. Seems like it's an okay house, but let me see. We gotta zoom in. What in the heck is that? I don't know. Ooh, you can stick your hand in there, guys. So this doesn't necessarily make that big of a difference. Small crack, big crack. You still got to dig under there, pump that thing back up, get that, piers under there, whatever you're going to do to get it back up. I'm sure there's a bunch of piers on this corner. All right. Kitchen is old appliances. See those dials? Old cabinets, damaged flooring. The whole kitchen floor needs to go. It would go anyway. That's disgusting tile. Ceilings, this all needs to be probably resurfaced, painted. Yes, the thing about old houses, you see, it's just, they show their wear over time. What are we looking at? Are we I almost thought that was the garage, but it's got carpet with some plastic laid down. I don't know what's going on in there. I think that's a bedroom that's just being used for storage. Well, here is this was a 3-2, so we saw that other bathroom. I think this is the second bathroom. And something is gone. I sense that something is gone, but I also sense they have a good supply of toilet tissue, so all is good in the universe, but except for that wall. Let's go to the next picture. It's that kitchen again from the other angle, and we can now see the kitchen seating table area for the breakfast table. And yeah, all the paint is shiny and the cabinets are old. I would probably at least replace the cabinet fronts with modern cabinet fronts. You know, you don't see a flat, solid cabinet like that anymore. I think that might be the end of my pictures, right? I think it is, y'all. Yep, sure is. Okay, so let's see. What did we learn? Let's go to the model and see what we think about this house. This house needed full cosmetic, especially get it up to $600,000 of ARV. But it's a small house. I think it needs more than that, to be honest. I guess, you know, because it's small and my model has $10 a square foot, I'm also going to max out general repairs because I need at least 20 grand just to resurface. Electrical and all that, what did they tell us? They didn't tell us anything about electrical. The house seemed to be in operating condition. I'm going to assume it doesn't need electrical. Electrical, I think, you know, given the fact that the bathrooms need to be redone, I'm going to put like, I don't know, let's start with 0.25. What does that give us? 2 grand for new, we need more than that. We need new faucets and sinks and such for the 2 bathrooms. It puts me at 28. HVAC, we're not going to put any money in there yet. I think the house is mostly dropped off on that garage, but let's put in a 1. That's 11,000. That's too much for foundation on a house this size. I'm going to put in a 0.5, and I'm going to assume that the main issue was that back corner. In fact, you know what, guys? I need about 7 or 8 probably for that. Yeah, let's do that because that was pretty significant. 8 grand. If you know your foundation, guys, if you use them a lot, you get a really good deal. If you have to call somebody, you know, that you find on the internet, you're going to pay full market value. Remind me, what did they say about the roof? They said it was 5 to 8 years old. We're going to assume it's okay for right now. And so, hang on just a second. I just want to remind myself. Where are we? Okay. So, I think I'll just stop right there and we'll just kind of step back and I'll say this is not a big rehab budget. $36K for a house that needs a lot of work. I mean, I almost feel like my $10 per square foot is going to be too low in this house. This is going to be a 600,000 square foot house that we're trying to bring back up to $600,000 value property that we're trying to bring up to that value. And you just can't have builder's grade, renter grade finish out, you know. I would almost say this is probably 1.5, you know, of what I would normally spend. Did I get that? Yeah. I'd feel better about this. You know, it's not that big of a house, but man, to get it to that, from where it is right now, to get it to that value of 600,000, you're gonna have to put a little bit of money in it. I mean, you know, like let's kind of just stop right there and look over here at the offer estimate. Number one, we want $395 a square foot when we're finished for this house. That is top dollar and for a house like this in Dallas. I'm suggesting we need $29 a square foot of that to repair the thing, and I think that could be low. But I'm just trying to keep it real. We've got that 1499 square foot house with an ARV of 592. So remember, what is our formula? ARV times 70% minus the repairs equals our cash offer. So that formula looks like this. Times 70% is 414. We got 44 in repairs. We're at a 370 cash offer on this house. Now, as I jump back to it, just to remind ourselves, they're looking for 460 on the house. Really easy for me to make a model and say, yeah, I would only pay 370. Well, you know, they didn't get the house for 370. I can guarantee you they paid more than that. And sometimes it just comes down to the fact that they had an opportunity to buy a house and it's, you know, if somebody wanted to purchase this and maybe not put as much work into it, although good gosh, those shiny walls and vinyl flooring and all that stuff. That's just not $600,000 house Dallas stuff, right? So there's got to be some money put in that place, and it's got that foundation issue. Um, maybe we don't need let's just say zero on the plumbing. I'm still at 374, right? So I think this is kind of where we are on this thing, about 375. So, again, these guys probably didn't get it for 375, and they put a wholesale commission or fee on top of whatever they paid for it to get to the 460. Maybe they paid 440 or something like that. Who knows? But I think in this case, at least this one, at least from this view, I haven't looked at the house. I haven't talked to Blue Bonnet. I have only what we've learned here together about this house. And I'm going to say, based upon what we know, I think it's about 375. Well, that's it for today. Episode 5 is in the books. And I just want to remind you guys that we have a website now at cashoffermasterclass.com. There's really 2 reasons to go here. One is to click here and get the calculator, fill out that form. Tell me anything else you want to tell me about what you're doing. Tell me if you have a deal that we could look at together. That'd be fun. We could do a Zoom call and do a deal together. So click on that, join the community, get the calculator. Over time, I'm going to make sure you have the newest stuff and all that. And then, of course, the site is going to feature the videos for the class. And then, guys, subscribe to this channel. The channel is just WBH Dev, We Buy Houses Dev. This is the home of the Cash Offer Masterclass. I've had this channel for years, but I never did anything with it. And so I've kind of decided to use it now and to use it for this purpose. And that's really to teach you guys what I know about real estate investing and to help you make a better cash offer when you go to do this business. Guys, you make your money on the purchase. If your cash offer is wrong, everything else is going to go wrong. It's very hard to recover from paying too much for a property. You'll find that once you start to do it, it has more problems than you were aware of. It's going to cost more to fix it. And if you paid too much for it, or let's say like some guys will say, I'm paying 0.75 or 0.8, on my discount. Man, that's the only person that's paying when you reduce that percentage is you. It comes out of your profits. So just be really careful, because I think in today's market, guys that got up to like paying 75, 78, even 80% for properties, and it's very easy to end up in the hole if you pay 80% and you underestimate your repair cost. That's not real estate investing. That's a nightmare. Okay. So it's all about the cash offer. And that's what I'm trying to teach you guys, to make a good deal right out the gate so you have the chance of making a profit on your deal. Hey, thanks for joining me today. Remember to go to cashoffermasterclass.com, sign up. Let's keep in touch. And I look forward to bringing you more of these, bringing you more tools, and talking to you and maybe looking at your deals in the future. So take care, guys. We'll see you soon.